Hey everyone, my name's Thel, and in this video we're going to be looking at some RMP analysis gameplay where I go over a couple of my games. Now, this one's kind of weird. Normally I go over a couple wins and a loss to show like what happens when you fuck up versus like just showing isolated clips of us doing things correctly and winning games. But I didn't really have a situation where we went on a warrior and it didn't really work out. So in this video, I'm going to be showing two clips of where we swap on a warriors and kill and how we set up under that point. We're going to be going up against a Destro Lock Arms Warrior H-Pal for the first game, and the second game is going to be a Thundercleave with a Mistweaver. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, in our first video today, we're going to be looking at a Destro H-Pal Arms Warrior team. I want to say before we get into this video, I found out the best strat recently by doing some more experimenting is really just to go into the Destro a lot more than going into the H-Pal. Here you'll see us go about evenly between the two, but it seems like when you go more so into the Destro and use the H-Pal like traditional RMP gameplay, it seems to work out a lot better. You force them into you more when you peel back, and you kind of get more out of it. And then like you'll force, especially against like a human H-Pal, you'll force his trinkets more often, and then you can swap to him after that if needed. But more so, you want to be going on the Destro here. But in this example today, as I've said in the start of the video, we're going to be looking at this game specifically because we swap and kill the Arms Warrior and be showing what's involved in that setup and how to do it and what you should be thinking when you're thinking about an Arms Warrior swap, because as you guys know, most likely they're incredibly tanky. You don't really want to be training Arms Warriors at all. So what makes an Arms Warrior a viable kill target? Well, the biggest thing that would make them a viable kill target would be the fact they don't have a trinket. So if you see they're not human, it's and they don't have a trinket, it's really good if you have a bomb or something and you can just swap them when they're in the middle of the map overextended, because they tend to go balls deep. But if they're human, you have to be a little more cautious about doing it. You have to be aware, like, all right, if you have Gladius, all right, is my Gladius showing they don't have trinket? Is my Gladius showing they just humaned? You have to kind of keep both those times in your head, because Gladius doesn't do an amazing job of showing both of those. Anyway, I'm going to go and get into this game now. Going to go ahead and start playing and walk through the game and how we end up swapping to this warrior.
Sure, look where he's standing. Fuck him.
I'll go ahead and mute here. Alright, so we go in. I sap the lock so the lock can't double peel us with a coil on both me and my mage. I believe I'm going to go over here and stun the warrior, and I'm going to try and get the Pally. Pally slightly lags, so I don't get him until he's about over here, and the lock is in like 3 seconds left on sap. It's an okay opener, but it could have been a little quicker on my part. Got to keep playing. So stun the warrior here. As you see, the Pally goes around. Alright, so what I messed up there is I could have cheap shotted this lock right here, but I didn't run close enough. I thought I did to focus cheap shot him, but he got the fear off and a coil off on my my mage, so that was really bad on my part. I could have been a little closer here. The Pally, I believe we're going to stun him one more time, and I can't remember, I just watched this game. I can't remember if he trinkets or if he literally just gets a gate off, but he's going to gate in 1 second. Okay, so he gets the gate. Now right here, I don't know why this is over here, so sorry. Now right here, we see the warrior is now completely overextended compared to where his Pally is now, because his Pally used the gate. The Destro's over here, he's still kind of in line, so he's an okay kill target, but we really could have abused and forced possibly a warrior's trinket over here. He is human, so he might use his trinket a little more just aggressively, because of the fact that he's got 2 of them. But I start hitting the warrior here. I probably should have called to go on the warrior because he's so line of sight and the healer's so far away. But my mage calls the Destro, so I just go with that because we have orb down and we want to get as much pressure as possible. And I saw the Destro is not on a stun DR because I stunned the red on the opener, so he could not peel. So I'm going to continue here. The healer is going to be over there topping himself off, and he's slowly going to run back over here a little bit to get in range of his lock and warrior to keep them up. My mage calls out that he's going to get a free sheep on the healer, which is good. So now we're able to pop offensive CDs on the Death Throat lock. We don't have orb, but sorry, excuse me. I believe we have a an Evan coming in, and I have my my Shadow Dance. So I see the warrior drops a warband over here, so I immediately go and kill that because there's almost no point of throwing CC in the lock if it's going to be halved, especially with the short cheap shots that we have nowadays without glyphs anymore. So, because it turns a 1/4 DR 1 second cheap shot into 0.5 seconds, or a 2 second half DR cheap shot into 1 second. Like, there's just very minimal point in it. The only time I would suggest even doing that is if that one global is like on an Arsham that you're trying to one shot or something, and like he's at 20% and he could literally just die to your priest and your mage's damage. But you can't be gapping those stuns at all in that situation. But in this situation, it's just not as dire. The warrior is popping Reckless and Seer, so that's something to keep in mind. The Destro got off a Chaos Bolt there. It looks right here that he wasn't on complete immune to my stun DR, so I could have done that to stop them getting some more pressure right here, but I didn't, so that's a mistake on my part. My mage is continuing to get polys out here, so we're still forcing cooldowns. My mage kicks the next Chaos Bolt and gets a poly on the lock, and we're going to switch on the H-Pal. Now, this is exactly what I was talking about a few minutes ago, guys. The H-Pal just immediately trinkets that kidney, and it really alleviates a lot of pressure off of him. So it's because he's human, so he's gonna have another one in 30 seconds. So although this is it's an okay trade for us, it's not amazing for us, especially because as you see, I'm popping cold blood here. I'm most likely gonna pop my my Gormals after this just to cause as much pressure as possible. Maybe force a bubble off of this if we're lucky, like if my mage got a proc or something. But really, we shouldn't be able to force that. I don't believe we do. I believe what happens is the H-Pal is going to run over here. I'm going to get feared or something. He's going to top himself off, mostly, yeah. So what we're probably looking to do is, I believe I'm running over here. I'm going to turn my sound slightly back on. Sorry about the music, but I want to have it on so you guys can hear the callouts. We're going to go over here. H-Pal is going to run over here, kind of middle map. Bad position for him. I'm going to be looking to blind the H-Pal and go on the lock, because lock's not on Sun DR, H-Pal is. I have my blind up, he doesn't have trinket, so that's really what we're looking for in this kill condition. H-Pal is over here, he's going to be trying to rep me in half a second. So because I'm already setting up this go, I don't want to get full repped, and my healer is in a fear over here. So I'm actually going to interrupt the rep with my blind so he can't get that off. And then go on the Destro. My mage is amazing over here and gets cross CC on the warrior, so they can't actually do anything right here. Unfortunately, I believe the warrior does get or the Destro. He has to fake the Destro interrupts first, and then the warrior gets out of the poly by that time, leaps over and interrupts on my mage, because my mage has to juke 2 Destro interrupts. I should have probably gone over and sapped at this point, because this guy is out of combat, just to make it easy on my mage, but I didn't, so that's a fault on my part. He actually does get the poly off, but he doesn't get the re.
I can re.
The because he doesn't get the re, the H-Pal gets the sack off. So now this is just a complete, like, this kill opportunity is completely gone. So now we're having to look at what our options are. We can go on the Pally. He's not on Sun DR. We could probably poly the lock, but that's going to alleviate pressure off of him, because the poly's obviously going to heal the lock back up. I believe that's what we do, just so we can get some pressure out.
So many interrupts. These 4 interrupts or 3.
So we start coming around this pillar and peeling back, because we want them to push into us. We don't want to be out in the open, especially in this time where it's really hard to CC the lock. I get feared back here, unfortunately, when I'm trying to line. My mage is getting good polys on the lock just to stop pressure. We're going to swap over onto this H pally to cause some more of that pressure. I believe my mage is getting polys on the warrior. This is where we cause the warrior to trinket. That's a really critical part of the game. The warrior feels like, all right, I have to go and peel for my H pally. The rogue's doing good damage to him. The mage is probably going to get an Ebon bolt off, which is what he's about to do. He's putting blizzards down to get his orb back up, although on my add-on, it shows this right here, and my add-on kind of lies to me sometimes. I'm getting feared right here. I don't know if I line it or not, but anyway, we get good pressure on this pally, and this is what causes this warrior's trinket. Probably shouldn't have trinketed here, but you have to abuse people when they play poorly. So in this case, in my opinion, it's probably a poor play. I think the pally had a lot of things he could stay alive. He had another trinket, he had bubble, he had bop, he had destro, fears, and peels. So pally's probably fine in the situation. Warrior was just being a mongo and decided to trinket.
Actually not bad. Re-reflected. I can't silence it. He fakes me too. Lol, bad. Going lock.
So I call out right there. I don't know if you guys could hear, but I called out right there the fact that we could kill Warrior Bomb. He's not on stun DR. He's barely even on poly DR. Obviously not going to poly him, but he's almost no DRs on him. Doesn't have trinket. Believe he trinketed early. No, he didn't trinket earlier or human earlier, but he doesn't have a trinket. All we're really waiting for in the situation is for them to spread out. Because if I go over right here, these two guys keep standing right here, but the warrior is over here. If I go and kidney bomb him, all the pally's got to do is walk 2 feet and sack the warrior, and he's okay. So that's not a good go on a bomb. What you're really wanting to do is to catch the warrior in a place where, like, my mage is over here, the warrior charges onto him, and the healer is over by this pillar trying to avoid CC from my mage. But the warrior's in the middle map way over here, so we kidney bomb him and force the pally to run in while my mage gets a poly, or I cheap shot the pally while he sprints in on his steed that he can summon.
I have Evan or Orb in 10.
So what we're doing is we're calling out our what we have to go,
I can't stop, buddy.
such as like Orb and Evan and stuff like that.
Streaming healer.
So we get a sheep on the healer.
Here in the bomb. Banner.
We get a sheep on the healer. We kill the banner. There's Blade Storm on the warrior, so obviously can't kidney him at the moment. But we're going to kidney out of this while my priest goes over and gets a fear to run the pally behind the pillar, which is great positioning for us. It's going to force the healer, I believe, to trinket and try to run in, but by the time he runs in, the warrior's already going to be dead.
Nice.
So this fear is going to cause this pally to run over here, and I'm going to bomb right here. And I pre-bomb before the CC is up, not just to overlap, but because the pally still has trinket, and I don't want him to sack the warrior when he gets to 30% HP. This is something you have to be thinking about, because although bomb is still a CC, you don't want to be using bomb at the very last second and, oh, I popped a bomb right as the pally got sack off. I popped bomb right as an Ardruid got Iron Bark off, and the warrior lives at 1% HP because we just couldn't pump enough damage, or X, Y, and Z. You want to be using it as kind of like a very slight overlap at the very least, and sometimes it's good just to use it as an extra layer of CC when they have trinket, or the healer has trinket. So pally gets run behind this pillar, and I don't think he trinkets. He tries to save his trinket and be greedy, actually, and steeds and tries to run back here. And I was going to either cheap shot him, or my mage was going to poly him as he ran back in. But we see he gets super low, so we just don't even bother. Oh, he murdered this guy. So that's really how you're going to be wanting to set up warrior swaps. I'm going to show another example in 1 second, but that's one example of how to do warrior swaps. You just wait for the warrior to overextend after he's trinketed, either offensively or defensively. Most of the time it is offensively, as you as you cheap shot him and they're trying to get pressure out, or it could be like what he was probably doing is my mage got a poly on him as we were setting up on the pally, and he trinketed defensively for his pally, so his pally wouldn't have to trinket, and he was going to like Stormbolt or disarm me and X, Y, and Z. So anyway, moving into the next example here. Alright guys, in the next clip, we're going to be looking at Thundercleave with a Mistfavored Monk, which isn't nearly as hard as with an Ardruid, but both are very capable of pulling a win off against. It's not too hard. Obviously, this is going to be another warrior swap video. We're actually going to swap to him twice in the video. The first time is going to be a fail, and then the next time, which is immediately after that swap, when the DRs run out, we're going to kill him. So I'm going to walk through the video and show you guys how we set it up. My mage calls it out, like, yo, the warrior doesn't have a trinket, he's a good kill target. So he ends up becoming our main kill target because he keeps overextending over and over and over again. So that's kind of a trend with warriors. They tend to overextend. They need to be really aggressive and cause pressure. So I'm going to get in the video. We start out on the LA. That's the main target against this comp. The shaman uses his pet to get in combat, or not pet, his elemental, to get in combat immediately. He also has an earth grab totem out on my healer, so he gets in combat multiple ways. Got dots out. So I can't sap the healer, but I'm going to kidney him behind the pillar, and I'm going to cheap shot the Ellie. The Ellie is going to immediately trinket. I also get cross CC on the warrior. Ellie's going to immediately trinket right here. I believe there it is. And he walls. My mage right here, I don't know why he does this, but he blinks this way to get closer to the Ellie. I believe because he sees Ellie's going to line, but by doing that, he lines the healer when he could have stayed here, gotten another poly, and then gone this way. So that was a mistake on his part, but I mean, we can all improve, right? So we get trinket and wall off the Ellie. So Ellie's looking like a really good kill target at the moment. I'm a little overextended here, but I'm still completely in line of my healer. I'm just spamming my feint right now to make sure that I'm going to be okay. I don't want to use anything else. I don't use my evasion. I don't use my cloak of shadows. We're looking for another setup here because they're all off of stun DR. We got a sheep on the warrior. It would have been great if I polyed slightly sooner so the warrior couldn't peel this at all. I believe he does. I forget how he does it, but we kidney Ellie in a bomb. This is a bad bomb because, as we see, I talked about in the last video, sometimes you bomb for cover. Well, the Mistweaver has Relentless, and I blinded him. He can't trinket it. There's no reason for me to be bombing here. Unless I was bombing the last second of the blind and my mage is calling out, no, there's no way I'm going to be able to get a poly here. There's no reason for me to be bombing here. So just wanted to stress that to you guys. This is a bad bomb. Don't look at this bomb as an example of what you need to be doing for bomb. And I should have blinded the healer a slight millisecond before he dispelled the poly on the warrior. That would have forced possibly even a trinket off the warrior.
Fucking rooted down here.
Warrior runs over and disarms me to peel. I get encapped right here. So as we see, we still don't have any DRs really on the Mistweaver besides a blind/fear DR right here. The only DRs we're really worried about is the stun DR on the Ellie at the moment. So I can go over in a couple seconds and start the setup on the Mistweaver.
I have Orb in 4.
My mage calls out, he's got Orb in 4, you just heard. And we're going to go off that. So I'm counting in my head 3, 2, 1. I get rooted right here. No, I don't. That's later. So I kidney the healer. I step, cheap shot the Ellie. We get a ring off that. Warrior leaps, but doesn't really get much out of it. But the Ellie gets a good knockoff and is able to kite away. I get dueled right here, so I kind of realize the go's over, and I start hitting the warrior just for combo points.
Take that into half sheep.
We do get bubble, though. At higher rated teams, I think we're in this video. This video is almost 2.4 actually. So I don't know why they bubbled here. I guess they were scared. The Ellie didn't really have a trinket, although I didn't have bomb as shown before. But they bubbled right here. That's a mistake on their part. The warrior was doing an okay job peeling. The Ellie did a great job knocking me off and kind of ruining the entire go. I guess Mistweaver saw that he was going to get polyed again and didn't want like an insane one-shot damage coming in. But we didn't really have any of that, and he wasn't in an orb.
Shipping Ellie. Don't stack.
So I get stunned here. I see they're popping burst on me. I see the healers running in defensively to possibly dispel the Ellie, so the Ellie's going to be able to go offensive on me. My healer is over here. If I run this way and try to go offensive, it's probably going to be a bad move. A trinket evasion.
Where's in battle?
So when my mage calls out the warriors in battle stance, and he's like, maybe we could swap him, but I call out the warriors still got a trinket. I really don't want to swap him when Ellie doesn't have a trinket, and we could just go him. They're about just as squishy as each other, so there's no reason to try and go back and forth between two people when you can just go on one person over and over and over again, and you don't have to work through a bajillion cooldowns. So this actually would have been a good situation if I had actually had a dance and a kidney. I could have kidneyed the healer right there because he ran right past me and set up on the Ellie, but unfortunately I didn't. I'm calling out that I can kidney the healer. And this situation I was talking about the root. Now, I'm throwing my shuriken at the Ellie to get combo points to kidney the healer because I don't want to use my mark for death for this. Ellie starts lining me, so I turn around, I kill the Earth Grab Totem to get a combo point because I'm going to get dispelled anyway, but I kill the Earth Grab Totem to get a combo point.
I'll sheep him.
Full kidney him, swap on the Ellie. Warrior trinkets here. He trinkets an MC. That's what he trinkets. It was a really good MC by my healer. Warrior realizes he needs to play this very defensive. So he trinkets to come over, and I don't know what he does. He's probably going to either Stormbolt. No, he doesn't have Stormbolt. Probably going to run over and disarm me. Maybe get a War Banner off or Fear or something along that end.
You locked that? I might.
The Mistweaver doesn't get polyed, though.
I might still get it. Got it.
Okay, no, he does get polyed. I thought he was going to get around the corner. I cheap shot Warrior here, so he can't peel my mage, because my mage calls out he's going to get the Ebon off. So we can't really go the Warrior at this exact second. We do get a Fear off on the Mistweaver to keep going offensive on the Ellie. The Ellie knocks me off again. This is a really good map for him, because he can just knock me off the corner, and I'm slowed the whole time. I get disarmed right here. Not the most amazing disarm ever, but it's still peeling them, but I was slowed either way. I get PS'd here because they're starting to go really offensive, and they're training me rather than my mage, or at least doing a lot more swaps on me than him. So my mage calls out right there that Warrior, because he suggested before, Warrior is in, I believe, battle. No, he's not in battle right here. But he doesn't have a trinket now, which was my condition on going to Warrior. So we call that out. We're going to try and get a poly on the Mistweaver and a kidney on the Warrior. Warrior doesn't die here, though.
Warrior's in defensive, but he has no trinket, and he's completely LS and healer. I just can't CC healer. I said go shoot me Ellie.
So I believe what happens here is I go and kidney the Warrior. My mate's going to try and blink poly the Mistweaver over here. I don't think it works out, though. But it's always good to try and go for those free sheeps if possible. If you get a free sheep off, it can really pay dividends. The Mistweaver ends up going around Pillar. I believe he incapped my mage there to stop it. I'm calling out. I have blind again. As you can see down here, kind of barely. Sorry about this user interface. But I have my Cold Blood, I have my Gormaw, I have a Shadow Dance, as I called that. I have Blind, I have a Step, I have a Trinket to go offensive, and I have Mark for Death. So what's going to happen is Warrior is going to stay offensive over here, and I'm going to go over here and Blind Healer, and we're going to Step Kidney Warrior and go ham.
If you can blind kidney him, even without bomb, it's still good.
So you see this is where the Warrior is overextending. This was bad on his part. The Mistweaver is all the way over here. The Warrior is going to be all the way over here. And it's really simple for me, especially when I'm not being slowed, to just sprint over here, blind the healer, and then step the Warrior over there. We don't even need to get follow-up CC on the Mistweaver because we can kill the Warrior within that time frame. And the Mistweaver has to come around out of this box and run over this way to get a bubble off on him. So blind, I step kidney. We use basically everything. My mage gets a good poly over here, and it's basically game. The Mistweaver can't possibly get in range in time. So that's kind of how you swap on Warriors. So to sum it all up, and how you're really going to be wanting to swap to Warriors, you're going to be looking for a couple different things. You're going to be looking, does this Warrior have a trinket? Is this Warrior human? So is he going to have multiple trinkets? Is one of those back up? Is perhaps the warrior just human trinketed? Can we swap to him in the next 10 seconds and abuse that? That's the trinket part of it. The next part is the warrior overextended? Is he away from the healer? How far is he away from the healer? Can the healer easily get in and bomb if we're planning to bomb the warrior and go for that kind of go? How easy is it for the third person, not the healer, not the warrior itself, but the third person, to peel the warrior? Are we going to be able to get CC on him? So there's multiple different factors. Obviously, is the warrior overextended and does he have a trinket, or the big ones? And bomb really prevents the third person from doing anything about it unless they're really close. So I hope this video helps in giving you guys an idea of like potential situations on how to swap to warriors, and I'll see you guys in the next video.